Talmor, Shishin Marachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Alexis Ohanian. You may know me as one of the co-founders of Reddit, but more recently, a large part of my identity is being a father to my wonderful daughters. In my podcast, Business Dad, I hope to open the conversation about working parents a bit. You'll get to hear from a wide range of business dads, from Rainn Wilson and Guy Raz to Todd Carmichael and Shane Battier, to find out how they balance being a dad with a successful career. Business Dad is available now, so be sure to listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, world, and welcome back to another episode of Thanks for Coming In. I'm your host, Jillian Clare. It's a crazy world out there. We're still in this, but we're getting super close to the election. So make sure that you are registered. If you don't know if you're registered, easy. You can look it up online. It takes 2 seconds. And if you're able to, you can sign up to be a volunteer at a polling place. It's a great time to get out there and help your community. As you know, a lot of the times people who run polling places are senior citizens. So it's great to get out there and help them stay safe and stay healthy by volunteering your time. I put in my application last week and I'm just kind of waiting to hear if I get assigned a polling place because I think it'd be really fun to do that. Today on the show, we have Naomi Grossman. You know her best from American Horror Story, where she played the iconic role of Pepper. She's done a million things. She's pretty awesome. And she was even up for an Emmy in 2018 for her work in Control-Alt-Delete. So here's that conversation with Naomi. Hello, Naomi.
Hello.
How are you on this quarantined day?
Oh, here we are, just another day.
Another day. How have you been spending your time?
Well, gosh, it's funny, the first month, I feel like now people are like, oh gosh, it's really getting to me. I'm like, getting to you? Like, I was like ugly crying within the first 12 hours. Now I've really kind of settled in, you know what I mean? Like I was initially month of March, I was like just a monkey, just slinging poo at the cage, And now I've just really settled into it. I kind of, I'm in my routine. Sleep till 10, nap around noon. No, I'm kind of exaggerating. But I do find that, being creative and being active are my friends. Like I have to write and or, bicycle, swim, yoga, something very aggressively for many, many hours a day. And then, that will keep me from full on, Whitney Houstoning.
So funny. I'm such as I've gotten older, I've turned into a total homebody. So for me, I've just been like, oh, I can finally watch all of the Marvel movies. Great. I'm going to do that.
Somebody said to me, we're all on the same roller coaster. We're just not all on the same part of the ride. Some people are at the helm, about to drop. Yeah. And some people are still just coming up. I like that. Yeah. Because it's true.
That's very true. I have gotten to that point where I'm like, I need human interaction so badly.
Yeah.
Which is why we have the show. Keep some bit of human interaction going on.
I love it.
So thank you very much. So take me back to how you started in this industry, because everybody knows you now from American Horror Story, which you play Pepper, and that's the coolest character ever and super exciting. But how did you get started in all of this?
Well, it's funny. I knew, having done my research on you, that, your show is a lot about auditioning and what works and mostly what doesn't. And my first audition ever was for a a children's theater company that literally like I'd seen at our public library. And I should have gotten it. Like it's literally like they're just choosing like kids who are, ebullience. Like you didn't have to really do much more than that. And yet
Right.
I was not cast. And so, but I
Oh.
wasn't going to let that get to me. They offered workshops, and I thought, oh well, perfect. I'll just, I'll take the classes, and and eventually maybe I'll get in their little company, which is, so sure enough, I remember specifically going to. I know the long answer to your question, but so basically, my very first acting class, which was kind of, a creative dramatics class for,
Okay.
you got to imagine like 7 to 13-year-olds, right?
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Yes,
you were very
yes, I
young.
was probably 10 or 11. And
Okay.
and I remember the teacher had us, paint with your hand, paint with the right hand, paint, oh, paint with the left hand, paint, and and pretty much you're painting with your toes, paint with your whole body. And I swear I was giving it my all, and I painted
Yeah, you
so
were.
hard I full on projectile vomited all over. This is my very first acting class, my very first exercise, my very first everything. And it was like the fact that
Oh my
I
God.
not only came back the next week, but like decided to like dedicate my life to this truly shows you like my level of dedication.
Man, you have some
Oh yeah.
commitment.
Or I just got a problem. Like I mean, yeah. So the fact is, my folks were really amazing about exposing me to culture growing up. We'd go to the ballet and the opera and the theater and the
Wow.
philharmonic, you name it. And I always I wanted to be up there, under those lights. And so yeah, the first real step was to I did finally get into the this children's theater company in Denver.
Oh,
I
good.
did get in finally. I think they just couldn't let me go. They were like,
God, if I see this child one more time, just give it to her.
right. They were like,
Anything.
she's not going anywhere. So yeah, no, I took the classes and I got in the company, and it's funny. Some of the kids that were in that with me are still at it, just like I am. Like, yeah,
Oh,
we're
wow.
still like kind of a crew that, we keep tabs on ourselves.
Yeah.
My buddy Marcus is like the consummate bailiff cop on like every show. Like he's pulled over everybody. My friend Vargas is a stand-up. He travels all over the world on cruises and performing for the troops. He does
fun.
a bazillion Disney voices. So we're still at it. Like these same kids with who I vomited on 25, 30 years later. We're still at it.
I love that. I grew up acting as well, and I still have friends that, we were 8 or 10 when we started together in the industry, and we're all still going at it. There's a lot who dropped off, mind you, but there's still a good amount sticking through it. It's pretty crazy. So you did this as a child, and then did you go to college for this as well, or how did it get into your adult life?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I never even considered doing anything else. So yes, Northwestern University was like the top of the U.S. News and World Report, whatever theater schools at the time. So like I just never thought to go anywhere else. Like I needed whatever that was number one. I did. It's funny. I took a year off. Pretty much like ditch senior year in school to go be an exchange student in Argentina.
Oh, fun.
It's interesting. It was like the one time in really my whole life that I've done something that wasn't like absolutely like, focused on theater or,
Right.
film and TV. But ironically, it was actually like the most informative thing I've ever done for my career. The stories that came out of that year, basically were my muse for my first one woman show. The Spanish I learned ended up becoming my sort of survival side job skill.
Oh, nice.
Between, waiting tables at Latin nightclubs to teaching Spanish at the Playboy Mansion, among other places.
What?
Yes. So, hey, listen, Playmates need to speak Spanish too. I don't know.
I agree. I think that should be a new requirement.
Yeah, right? ¿Quién es más macho? Jefe es más macho. Anyway, but yeah, so, I did, like, that was the first year that I kind of came away and I was like, wait a minute, maybe I could do something else. But, at that point I was already in school and I was already a theater major. And so I did that. And, 4 years later, I was not quite done with Argentina. And so I did sort of sow my oats, as you do after college, traveled around South America. And I did think about staying.
Really?
I did. And actually, this is what that first solo show is all about. Not to, spoiler alert, but, my host mom basically said, you need to do what you love, not just be in the place you love. Like,
yeah,
you love it here. The food is far superior, to your McDonald's, and yes, you love the men, of course. It's like, but at a certain point, you're gonna get bored. Like, it's gonna be like brushing your teeth. Like, do you look forward to brushing your teeth? So, that was good advice, because let's face it, like, had I gone there, I wouldn't have an acting career. Like,
you wouldn't have the life you have now.
No way. Maybe I could have gotten some parts, but I would have been kind of like, obviously the kind of oddball American, even with my, immaculate Spanish, like it would have, So no.
Have you gone back since then? Have you been back to Argentina?
Many, many times. In fact, it's weird. My dad happened to since move there,
Oh, wow.
Parents following their children's footsteps. So yeah, actually now that's like where I go home to, which is totally bizarre. But
how kismet of that.
I know, right?
Like, what an interesting way to actually still call that home.
Right. Isn't that funny? It's like I almost manifested it. Like, it felt like home, and now it is. And actually, funny enough, my mom is doing theater. So go figure.
Wow. Yeah. I love that you really influenced your parents.
I know, right?
That's so funny.
Very funny.
So you come back from Argentina, and then what?
Moved to LA. My college boyfriend was a PA on Friends, which was the big show at the time, of course. So I don't know if I thought he was gonna. I don't know. I thought, if anything, that we'd last longer than the 24 hours that we did. But I was still committed to being here. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he made the decision between New York and LA easy, but the sunshine and weather sort of closed it. Even after the relationship dwindled. But yeah, besides, I always wanted to do television, and which is funny because my folks actually forbade TV.
Really?
Yeah, they were like uber cultured. Like I remember I was caught watching that movie Clueless back in college.
Oh, God, yes.
And they were like, what kind of trash are you watching? I don't know why I gave them a British accent. They're not. But there's that.
It's just more posh sounding.
Exactly. So, and of course, the only way I could justify watching this, drizzle is the fact that it was based on a Jane Austen movie. The minute I justified that, they were like, oh. Now they're settling down to watch.
It's a spin on Jane Austen. Interesting.
Yeah, totally. So, basically, you got to imagine, I was a kid who, while other kids were off, sneaking cigarettes. I was sneaking like the Cosby Show,
I love that.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. So, parents, let your kids watch television. They might grow up wanting to be a TV star.
I feel like there's no child, at least in America, that doesn't watch TV now.
Yeah, well, honestly, it's so
Unless
much
it's a
better
cultural
than it
thing.
was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much. I mean, not only artful television, but there's so much informative television. I mean, all these docuseries, and it's not all just reality trash. Although there's plenty of that too.
Don't you know it?
Oh yeah. Anyway, I guess it's funny, but I always wanted to be on TV specifically. I think I just wanted to be a part of people's life on a weekly basis. Like they would join into my life, or I would join into theirs, once a week. Of course, now it's like people
you can binge it all. Yeah, they binge it all.
But that so that's why I. Even though I was obviously trained in theater, I specifically had my sights set on TV, even though at the time there was still a stigma. Movies were definitely like that was the highbrow stuff, and TV was sort of second tier. But I don't know.
It's interesting. I mean, I definitely feel like there's been a rise in TV because I started in the industry when it was like 2001, and film was still taken to the highest regard, and now it feels like it's just switched.
Right. I know. Well, now all the big movie stars want to be on TV.
Yep. Which means us people who did the guest stars are doing the co-stars now.
I know. If they'll even have us now, right?
Yeah, if they'll even audition us. Good Lord.
Oh my God.
So because I read that you were a part of Groundlings for a while too. When did that come into play?
Yeah, let's see. I want to say I did that like 2001 to 2006.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's a long process. Like if people, want to be Groundlings, like I'm like, well, do you want to be like, why not be an astronaut? Like that might be faster, honestly. So yeah, I want to say I started in 2001, and I was fortunate to never have to repeat.
That's
but
nice.
It still took forever, and in 2005, 2006, I was in the Sunday Company.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, people who aren't necessarily in the industry don't know, but it is kind of, I don't want to say pyramid scheme because that sounds super dodgy, but it pretty much is a place that attracts anyone and everyone who was ever funny ever from high school. So you have to imagine like there's this massive, pool of people that are attracted to this, little theater on Melrose. And then, 5 years later, there's a really select little crew. And I mean, I was in my cast was 14 folks, all of which were just amazing. Yeah. And then, there was a vote, as they do there. And they actually let 10 of us go,
oh my God.
overnight. And it was really brutal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you really can't take it personally. It's at that level, it's almost like sorority rush. And they're just deciding who they want to the tea party. You know what I mean? It's not like anyone's, you can't have gotten that far and not be totally hilarious. In fact, for that matter, I mean, the list of like truly legendary comics who've been let go from the Groundlings is so much longer than those who actually were Groundlings. I mean, I remember doing Adam Sandler's show once, and he is so funny. You can't even like get a word in edgewise.
Right.
You don't dare, because it's only taking away from like laughs from him. And yet, he was telling me he didn't get past like intermediate or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, part of me is like, I feel like I almost won in that I'm in this much more elite crowd of those that were actually let go.
Right. I love that. I love that spin. That's great.
Yeah.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But we also sell merch. And organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell and grow at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. They have an all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS system, so wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. Shopify has allowed us to share something tangible with the podcast community we've built here, selling our beanies, sweatshirts, and mugs to fans of our shows without taking up too much time from all the other work we do to bring you even more great content. And it's not just us. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify is also the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/REALM now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm. You can shop from anywhere doing pretty much anything. You might shop while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast. And however you shop, we all know and love the thrill of the hunt. But do you also know how to get the thrill of the best deals? Because Rakuten shoppers do. With Rakuten, they get the deals they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Sephora, Nike, and even Expedia if you're looking to get some travel in. And getting cash back doesn't mean you have to miss out on sales because those can just be stacked right on top. It's easy to use and based on a simple idea. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back through PayPal or check. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's RAKUTEN.
Well, it took me a while to get there. Like
Right.
I do remember being let go and feeling like the world had ended. Like I used to wear my all my wigs that I'd accumulated over my time there, like out in public because I was so horrified of the person that I was, mostly like, well, I was, I needed a job, I couldn't. So I took to, passing out gum at the festival or condoms at the bar or whatever, ding dong job that, actors sometimes are forced to do.
Yep.
And yet I didn't want to be that person. So I figured if I could disappear into a character, then no one would know it was me. They'd think, just this crazy lady in a wig. Which is what I was for a while.
I was serious about that.
Yeah, I was caught by a girlfriend. She saw me. She's like, Naomi?
Oh my God, how awkward.
What's going on? What are you doing? And I pretended like I didn't know her. I mean, it was it's horrifying.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me about, because obviously you've probably talked about this so many times, but tell me about playing Pepper on American Horror Story, because that must have been just life-changing for you.
It was. I also didn't see it coming. I mean, I got my SAG card on my 15th birthday.
Aww.
And I want to say I was cast as Pepper at age 37.
Wow.
So I'd been going 22 years of, auditioning, callbacks, on a veil, pinned, you name it, and nothing,
Right.
So, when they did cast me, I figured it was just one of like an army of pinheads. Like I was just like it was like maybe a glorified extra type role. It never occurred to me that it could be this, breakout thing. And who knows? I don't know that they even knew it. You know what I mean? Like I really get the sense that as well, especially that show, because they're writing it as they go.
Right.
I think that that first day in that day room, where you had the guy with Tourette's over to your left and the lady with the, sex, the obsession to your right, that they're really just sort of threw a bunch of crazies in the day room and like see what stuck, and, and watch the message boards, like
right.
check social media and see what folks are responding to. And so,
it was you.
Apparently, yeah.
Luckily it was you.
Yeah. So that was great. But I didn't know that. I mean, when Pepper went pee in episode 3 and sort of disappeared into the, well, she was kicking it with the aliens, but I didn't know that. I mean, literally, like, I thought maybe I'd screwed up on set. And, I mean, they did tell me, don't change your hair, which was a good sign of, something to come. But I didn't know. I just, people would, and then the show started to air and people would ask me, well, what happened? Where's Pepper? What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I just know I can't touch my hair. That's all. That's the extent of what I know.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy that like they didn't tell you what they wanted to do with the character. Like, that's wild to me.
Nothing. And even then, I mean, when they did call me back for, this transformed Pepper, I didn't even, I would say, I never got full scripts, not until season 4.
Wow.
So, all I got was like the pages I was in. So I couldn't really follow, the storyline at all.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing the pages that I was in and then these chunks of like monologue. And I'm like, how's this going to go down? Like she's basically nonverbal, And, I remember asking for my teeth because I was like, I'm going to need to practice like this. They're not easy to talk in, much less, intelligible or intelligent.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, I was literally in the makeup chair getting done up for the day to work, to do those monologues. And I was, verifying with the makeup people because they were kind of my connection to the producers. Like, just want to make sure when you say normal, like, what does that
what does that actually mean? Can you please tell me? What is normal?
Yeah, because normal Pepper, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
well, especially because it's like what you've been doing as Pepper is Pepper's normal to you. So what is this normal that you're talking about?
Right. Yeah, no, it was, I mean, the good news is they cast an improviser, who is used to changing on a dime. And like when you say, oh, like a doctor or like, I can go, okay, I can do that.
Got it.
But yeah, it's true. I mean, they gave me a good month to prepare for the early Pepper. I had I was watching Freaks on a loop and I was like, I had all kinds of, preparation, worked with a coach, you name it. And then I had, hours sitting in the makeup chair to prepare for this, normal Pepper.
Right. How crazy. That's crazy to me. But wow, what a wild ride that must have been.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
How fun.
So great.
So I also read that you were nominated for an Emmy in 2018 for Control-Alt-Delete. Tell me about that. What's that about?
Well, so that is a fun little abortion comedy. Because, that's really fun.
Super funny.
No, it's my friends Roni Giva and Margaret Catch have this little web series, which is basically set in an abortion clinic. It's all based on real women's stories. When they asked me to be in it, I thought, yeah, why not? Cheers is set in a bar and The Office is set in the office.
Right.
Like, why not? Like, this is something we haven't really seen.
Yeah.
And I really like the message that there is comedy to be had everywhere.
Yeah.
And there really is. And especially because it does support, women's just comedy is fine, and I'm all about that. I mean, let's face it, I was doing it at the Groundlings for 5 years. But at the same time, if that same comedy can deliver a message,
Right.
then even better. Kill
Yeah.
two birds with one stone. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
I love that. I'm gonna have to watch that. Where can I find that?
I want to say Facebook.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up after this.
I mean, I'm sure if you just Google Control Alt Delete, you'll find it. They've done 2 seasons now. The second season is much better in terms of just production value. Although my part isn't as good or as big. No, but there's a reason for it. It's that season 2 is actually all set in the course of one day.
Oh, wow.
And my role, Lorna, is what we call jokingly, of course, an aborcionado. So basically one who gets many abortions,
oh, gosh.
Which is apparently a thing. So unfortunately for Lorna or me, there's only so many abortions you can get in a day. So basically, my role is diminished substantially in season 2, sadly. But I'm in there.
You are.
Yeah. Anyway, it's cute. Second season they ended up getting, because of this nomination, I'm sure, although not exclusively, they got a lot of support from Planned Parenthood and a lot of sort of these groups, women's groups, that were able to help their budget.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So the point of this show is to tell funny or sad or something stories about auditions or things that you almost got. Do you have any stories that you'd like to share?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm pretty positive I went out for the role of Flo.
No.
Progressive. Yeah. So Stephanie Courtney, who's a Groundling, actually got that role. And it's just funny because I've had so many people, my own mom included, is like, you should have been that girl. And of course, I'm like, I know, Mom. Like, I'm pretty sure I auditioned for it. Yeah, though Stephanie and I used to always go out for the same stuff.
Wow.
And it's funny. Of course, at the time, I was like, man, like that would have been a paycheck. Like that would have pretty much changed the course of my life. But at the same time, let's face it, the course of my life changed anyway, and it might not have changed in the same way if I were Flo from Progressive. You know what I mean? So
true.
I just like that story because it lets you know, like, well, I don't know if there is a master plan, but I just know like, there's no sense in sort of micromanaging our careers and bemoaning what could have happened, because who knows, maybe the thing that's supposed to happen, wouldn't have happened had that thing happened or whatever.
How funny. So that was around the same time as when you auditioned for Pepper then.
Yeah, I want to say a couple years before. Like I definitely, it was there to sort of plague me for a little while, but not for long. And anytime I see Stephanie Courtney, I'm like, please, can we take a picture? Because the two of us side by side, I really do look like her, like cracked out cousin. It's like, we totally could be sisters, but like one of us was like the migrated twin. You know what I mean? One of us came out as just like a growth on her shoulder,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm thinking there's another audition story. I remember auditioning as a little girl for a Pop-Tart commercial and not getting the memo. It was basically one of those, if you remember back in the 80s, where, there's a girl sunbathing on the top of a skyscraper and a Pop-Tart comes flying through. And I was supposed to be that girl that like sits up in her bikini. Wow. Anyway, I did not get the memo that I was to wear my bathing suit to the audition. And so I remember having this real like moment of truth there with the casting director in Denver as he asked me to, please disrobe. And there I was, like way too young, like, I don't know, 15 years old, like panicking, like, oh my God, this is it. This is the casting couch. How bad do I want this commercial? I mean, I knew it. I wanted it bad enough to like vomit everywhere, but like, how fortunately I had the good sense in that moment to mention I wasn't wearing anything.
Good. Good.
And he, of course, had a total meltdown and, ran into the waiting room to like
Oh my God.
avert further disaster. So it all worked out. But it was one of those true moments that I remember like deciding like, how bad did I want it?
Right. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
I know.
Oh God.
So the other audition story that I'm reminded of is, of course, the Pepper audition, only because I remember walking into that waiting room and it was just me and a sea of little people. And I mean, I am short. I'm 5 feet of fun. And I have been up against, little people before. But it was one of those moments where I was like, God damn it. Like, does my agent not understand like the difference between like bona fide dwarf or what, legal, actual,
right,
what that is, and like just being petite? Like there is a difference.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, I remember like in the back of my mind being like, you wasted my time. Like I just, I drove to the valley.
You're like,
I memorized these lines. Yeah. And like, and here I am, this like giant walking in. I want to say I even made a joke about it to the casting director. Like, I don't know what you want me, what I'm doing here. And of course I killed it. It's like the one audition in the 22 years that I actually really, truly nailed. And I remember then, of course, driving home, like, berating myself like you do. But it was such a good lesson to me, because the fact is, like, I'm just the actor. Like, I'm not the casting director.
Right.
Like, it is not my job to decide whether I'm too tall or too short or too ugly or too beautiful or too whatever. Like, who knew that I was what they wanted? Like, in my mind, I was like, it's American Horror Story. If they want a freak, they're going to find a freak. Like, why? And then, of course, they did. That's the beauty of it all. But,
oh my
gosh. And then of course the callback was really awesome, because that was really just entailed a meeting with makeup.
Wow.
So I drove to the makeup studio. I was still auditioning, but they took a bunch of pictures of me and a couple other actresses that they knew could handle the demands of the role. They later manipulated those images to see what I, would look like with all this makeup. And that's what's so crazy is, we actors, will, replay the audition a million times in our mind. Oh, if only I'd done it this way or said it that way. It doesn't matter. Like, who knew the bridge of my nose looked best? Like, that's it. And it's not like I have a great nose. It's not remarkable in any way. I've never thought to change it, but I could have, and then I would have totally screwed myself out of this role. So, I just think it's a good lesson to actors to, again, stop casting.
Yeah.
just show up on time, know your lines, and like just
show up, do the work, leave.
Yeah, and then forget about it. Yeah, and like you might look like the director's ex-wife, in which case you're screwed. Like, you could be Laurence Olivier. It does not matter. You ain't getting cast. So like, stop worrying about it.
I think there was a commercial that I did when I was a kid that the director had said that his ex-wife's name was Jillian. And it was like part of the reason why I got it. And I was like, interesting. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that bizarre?
It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Actually, Pepper, I was not the second choice, but they had cast actually someone else before me, an actual little person, and later decided, I don't know why, they needed someone completely proportionate. But
wow.
And that particular person was not. But yeah, who knew?
How bizarre.
Again, not my problem, not my job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like as actors, we also often be like, oh, well, you can just change my hair. You can do this. I'll do whatever you need me to do. But it's like, they'll do it if they want to do it.
Oh, sure. Exactly.
100%. I mean, I did a very small part on Castle years ago, and it was like a 2-day role, and they dyed my hair black. Like, if they really want you in that role, they're going to find a way to put you in that role.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. How can people find you on social media?
I'm at Naomi W. Grossman across all platforms. I'm verified, so they'll know.
Just look for that little blue tick, friends.
That's right.
What else do you have coming up? Do you have anything that you filmed that's about to come out, or do you have things on the table that you're looking at?
Well, yeah, I did. I voiced a video game recently, which any big gamers listening will be excited about. It's the new Mafia.
Fun.
Which was, big back in the day, and now it's making a comeback. Yeah, it was fun. I got to do my Chicago accent, which I haven't done.
Nice.
Years. And then, well, I've been working during quarantine on my next one-woman show. I've done, 2 prior, and now I'm working on a 3rd. And of course, who knows when we'll be able to be in theaters and with live audiences again. But, the cool thing is ever since I've been working on this, I've sort of had my sights set on doing it as a 1-hour comedy special, for streaming services. And what's crazy is now that's probably just as likely to have happen as be in a theater with a live audience.
Totally.
So that's what's so crazy. Like the thing that seemed at one time so unattainable and lofty is now like probably more likely
100%
in this changing world. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited. Hopefully that happens and we can all watch it.
Yeah. Well, and this has not been a great time for us, extroverts.
No.
Who, living alone, who, really get our energy from people. But it has been good in that this is the one time. I mean, like I said, I've done this before twice, and still managed to have a life on the side. And now I have no life, but I also have no distractions. And there is nothing keeping me from working on this. And there's also no deadlines. You know what I mean? Like it's done when I say so. And that's kind of awesome. So
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I have to try to find the silver lining here. Otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to get ugly if you can't.
Right.
Well, thank you again so much. It was so nice talking to you.
Oh, it was so fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks again to Naomi for coming on the show. Tune in next week where I talk to my friend Denzel Whitaker. You know him from literally everything because he's in everything, but you probably know him best from Black Panther. So make sure to tune in next week for that. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to it right now. You can also follow us on social media for updates and graphics and all that kind of fun stuff that happens on the interwebs. Don't forget to tell your friends, your family, your cat about the show. And as always, thanks for coming in.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.